Hey everyone, Sycra in here, and in this video I'm doing a speed sketch of, I don't know, just some traditional drawing. And like some of my other speed painting and speed sketch videos, I'm not going to be actually talking about what I'm drawing, and instead I'm going to talk about another subject. And what I wanted to cover is motivation, because I got a comment from someone who was struggling with staying motivated in art. And to tell you the truth, I still have trouble sometimes being motivated. And so I don't have a perfect solution. And rather, I'm quite curious as to what other people do. Like, what do you do to stay motivated in drawing? And I can share what I've been doing that's helped me, but it's still not perfect. I feel like I still kind of have problems with motivation. When I was starting out, being motivated was more a matter of necessity. It was more like, well, I really want to be good at art. I felt like I needed to, because I didn't have anything else that I was really good at or qualified to do. And because I didn't go to college or university or anything, it's not like I had a degree to fall back on. And I didn't want to just end up working at, a fast food place for the rest of my life. So it seemed like art was very, I had to do it. So I was motivated by necessity to get good. And then I was motivated because I found out just how little I actually knew. And I was really overwhelmed by how much there was to learn. But that was sort of motivating as well, because it's like, oh, okay, I need to learn this. I need to learn values. I need to learn proportion and perspective. And that carried on for a number of years, because there's just so much in art that's technical to learn. And it's not like I've finished learning. I'm still learning. But I was really motivated by this desire to get skill so I could do the pictures I wanted to do, as well as survive. So there was a survival issue there, but also I want to do some cool artwork. And when making videos, the motivation was just trying to help people other than myself who may be struggling, because I went through such a struggle trying to learn stuff on my own. I wanted to pass on any information I had. And that was a pretty strong motivation. It's the motivation behind all my YouTube videos. But after I got more of the skill, I found that my motivation started to slip. And I didn't know exactly why I wanted to do art. I was doing art to make a living. That much was there. But what was motivating me to get up in the morning and what was exciting me? Well, I didn't really have much. And when I was looking at my gallery, I saw just a lot of work that I didn't really relate to, that it's like, yeah, this was work for a job, but that doesn't mean it's something that I'm really proud of. And most of the stuff I do or have done, I don't really show, because it's not something that I think like, oh, this is me. This is something I want to show. And so that's why I started the pointy chins thing, is because I wanted to figure out what I really wanted to draw and learn how to draw the things that I wish I could have drawn when I was in my teens. And that's always, when I was young, it was this thing of, okay, I felt like I had these ideas of battle scenes or cool characters and stuff that I wanted to put on the page, and I wanted to have this cool style. And it was very influenced by anime, I suppose, and a little bit by Western comic books, but more by anime, I would say, and manga. And afterwards, I started learning about, I started going to forums and seeing how anime was sort of looked down on. It was considered like, well, if you're drawing anime, you're kind of a noob. And if you want to be a professional, you need to know how to draw realistically. And I also wanted to draw realistically to paint, because I switched. I think I mentioned it before in videos, how I had a teacher who mentioned that my stuff was all based on power, and that stopped interesting me. And so I switched to drawing just emotional things that I wanted to express. And then that too started to fade away as I stopped having those emotions. And I guess when you're in your teenage years, you're privy to many more intense feelings that sort of die away as your hormones stabilize. And so when I was doing more realism, it felt like, okay, I should do this and this is good to know. But it wasn't really me. And so I created the Pointy Chin series to figure out who am I and what am I doing. And that was motivating because now it's finally back to, well, I'm doing this for selfish reasons. And as bad as it's, like, I don't know if it's really bad, but it sounds bad to say, oh, I'm doing this out of being selfish. But that's really been the best motivation for me, because I've had other motivations, like trying to impress people. That was something especially when I was younger, I really cared about that a lot more. Like if someone said, oh, could you draw something? I kind of wanted to say yes, but then immediately I got scared, like, oh, but what if I draw it and it's crap, or the person thinks it's not very good? And sometimes I would go in sort of confident and think like, yeah, I'm going to do a picture and it's going to be cool. Only to discover very quickly, and sometimes like it wasn't that bad right in the beginning, but the more I drew, the more it was like, uh-oh. And then they would be looking over my shoulder, and I just felt like, no, stop looking. This isn't going well. And so yeah, drawing things that other people, or to impress other people, was probably the worst thing. And then there's also this competitive motivation that I had for a very long time, many years, where I would see people around me doing stuff, and I would kind of get this feeling that, oh, I'm lazy, I'm slacking, I should be that good, especially when the people were around my age. Because I guess when I was like 19 or 20 or something, maybe it was before that, but I had this thing where if you were older than me, like let's say I'm 20 and a person's 25, I would think, if they're much better than me, I would think, oh, well, you're 25, so I still have 5 years. Maybe after 5 years, I'll be at your level. So I've got time. So it didn't really bother me that much. And if I was 20 and a 15-year-old was super good, it felt like, oh, well, but you're just some kind of crazy genius type who's super talented. And so, oh, well, what can I do? You're like some Mozart type. So then I didn't really think much in terms of, yeah, I should be as good as this person. But if I'm 20 and there's someone who's 20 and is like really good, much better than me, it really did start to feel, or if they're 19 or 21 or something, it felt like, oh no, damn it, I should be much better. And what would happen is at first I would sort of feel like crap and just, oh, I suck. And then I'd start to get angry, and I'd turn that to sort of a self-hatred. Like, I'm so stupid. I hate this. I don't want to be this bad. And then it would start to be a sort of positive anger where it's like, I've got to draw. I need to get better. And then I would grab paper and I would start drawing and like, no, I need to get better. I need to catch up to this. And that would last for a little while, this anger-fueled competitive motivation. But then it just couldn't sustain itself, because eventually I would just lose that feeling. The rage would dissipate, and I kind of forget about what made me competitive in the first place. It was more just like, I'm tired. So that wasn't very good. So doing things to impress people wasn't good. Doing things because I wanted to compete with other people wasn't very good. And the only motivation that has really sustained itself for me is to get everyone else out of the picture and to just purely focus on what I want to do. And also that meant to not show people, to not put my work out there. And it's not that it's bad to put your work out there, because in the end, that's what you want to do, right? You want to put your work out there. And I mean, art is communication. That's how I see it anyway. I think of it the same way as writing. It's just another language. And I think of music the same way. Like, this is just another way of expressing thoughts or feelings and conveying ideas. So I think, yeah, you do need to, in the end, show people stuff. But I also think of this idea that there should be a separation between practice and performance. And I think of it very much like a musician would be practicing a piece on their own. If it's like a band, maybe they practice in the guitar in their garage. They practice their guitar and drums and whatever. And then when it's time to perform, well, you've already rehearsed the piece like 100 or 1,000 times. And then it's more just a matter of going on stage. And it's, even if you get nervous, a lot of it becomes muscle memory. And so that's the performance aspect. And I try and do this as well, where I will practice a bunch of stuff on my own time, in private, in sketchbooks that I don't show people. And then when it comes time to doing something like this, like a speed sketch, it's not that hard, because even though I'm nervous and even though I still have this feeling of I want to impress people, because I mean, I guess for me, it's really hard to imagine not having that. It would be cool if I didn't. That would be very, very good if I didn't have this, because it really does stop me. Because I think about you people watching. I think about like, well, why would you tune in to watch some substandard artwork? And so it's like, well, I want to do a good job. I want to make it so this is worth it for you. Especially people who say they're fans of my work, which is, I don't know, it's hard to really get my head around that, to accept that. But okay, so let's say someone does like my work, then I really want to do a good job, because I don't want to let them down, kind of. I want to, like, oh yeah, see, it's like I feel like I want to be as cool as they have made, or as they may think I am. It's like, I just want to live up to that. So what was my point? Oh, right. So I don't like showing the initial parts. And I did this Pointy Chins series where I was doing that. I was actually showing the behind the scenes, me figuring stuff out. And that was very uncomfortable. But at the same time, I felt like, well, nobody does this. No one really shows the hard behind the scenes knowledge. And that's what I really wanted to see when I was, and I still do. I still think that's really interesting to see what people actually are doing to gain their skills, instead of just, it's a little bit like a magician. You want to see the trick. How is this actually done? And maybe that does take away from some of the magic, the mystique of it. And I think it does. I think it's a little bit just revealing too much. So in a way, people get to see things when they're not quite ready. But at the same time, I think it's cool anyway to get a behind the scenes look. And if no one else is going to do it, then I guess I have to do it. And then hopefully, I mean, this is my, sort of my hope, is that really good artists, better than me anyway, will show their stuff and like, oh, okay, this is how I actually got to where I am. And so showing my work, eventually got really difficult, because I felt like I was doing this way more with the expectation that other people are going to see it. And going back to motivation, that turns my motivation into, oh, I want to impress. And I think it's really important to figure out which motivation works for you and then which one doesn't and what triggers that. So for me, if I know someone's going to see the work I'm doing, I start to feel pressure. I start to feel like I need to make this good. And so what works for me is to be very selfish, to think like, no, I don't care about what anyone thinks. I don't care if anyone sees this or doesn't see this. And I'm going to pretend no one's going to see this. And I'm just going to draw for me and draw what I like to do. And that's easier said than done, because it's not, I don't know. It's not that easy. Maybe it's easier for some people. It's not easy for me anyway, to block everybody else out and to think, I'm really going to do something that no one else is going to see. Because as soon as they do see it, it starts to be like, oh, especially if you impress somebody. I don't know. For me, whenever I impress somebody, I feel like, let's say I did a drawing and it's really received well. Well, the next drawing I do, I almost feel obligated to want to get the same reaction or better. But the problem with that is you can't really do that. There's no way of measuring that because you're going to have ups and downs. So yeah, you might show them something that gets them impressed, and you might even show the next thing that impresses them. But eventually that streak's going to run out. And then what happens when you haven't impressed them? Are you going to get depressed? Are you going to feel really discouraged? And for me, I'm kind of the type of person, and I hate this. I hate that I'm this type of person, but I am the type of person that gets discouraged if I disappoint people. And I start to feel like, oh, I should have done better, and I wish I was better. And the reality is, I think most of us know that it's just going to be a lot of time, a lot of mileage, a lot of work, a lot of analysis and figuring things out, and then we'll get better. But because the time frame is something we can't control, like I don't know, am I going to get much better in a couple years, in 10 years, in 15 years? Am I going to get really good in a week because I discover something? I don't know. I don't get to control that. But what I do get to control is how much work I put in. So then it's all about trying to figure out, why are you motivated? And for me, the best reason I found is just being selfish, not any type of, I want to show the world something amazing, but more things like, I want to create work that I think is cool. I want to draw a person that I look at and like, oh, that's cool. That's nice. I like that. And that's been really good. But yeah, I'm curious as to what motivates you. What makes you work? I know I've heard some people say fear is really a good motivation for them, and other people say fear is the worst motivation. And for me, I'm like, personally, fear has been a terrible motivation, because when I get scared, I get desperate. And when I get desperate, I'm not thinking about what I really want to do. I'm thinking about what I have to do. And so I lose track much more easily. And when I was looking at my gallery and it was full of work I didn't relate to, it's because I was driven by fear. Like, oh, I need a job. I need to make money. There's some jobs that are available and they pay like, okay, maybe not great, but they pay decent. And so I need those jobs. And if those jobs require me to draw in a style that's not my own, well, that's just what I need to do. And so I kept drawing based on fear, only to realize it's kind of like with fear, you're running away from something. And let's say there is a vicious dog chasing me and I was running away from it. That's fine. But all my energy is just on running away from this thing. And I'm just going anywhere. I'm going anywhere to get away from the thing that's scary. Instead of, if there was nothing chasing you, and instead it's like, oh, I look around, I look at the world, and I see, oh, where do I want to go? And maybe there's a mountain. It's like, oh, cool, I want to climb that mountain. Then all I'm looking at is the mountain and the peak of the mountain, which is where I want to go. And that to me is much better. And that's why I think fear is a bit of a poor motivator. But it's not like it doesn't work at all. It does work at all. It does work because you're still running, you're still moving, you're still going somewhere. The only problem is you may stop to find you're some place you never really wanted to be in the first place. So I guess that's it. That's my talk on motivation. And I hope this helps someone. And thanks for watching.